You're listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast with Jay Mackay, episode number 57. Hello, you're listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. My name is Jay Mackay, and on this show, we talk to smart women in business all over the world about starting, building, and creating the business and life of your dreams while having incredibly honest, in-depth, and rich conversations with amazing women in business who will inspire you to become a smart woman in business. Hello and welcome to the Smart Women in Business vlog and podcast. I'm your host, Jay Mackay from Jay Mackay Communications, marketing consultant and coach who works with people across the world to build the business of their dreams. Today, it is my pleasure to be talking to Devon Moody-Graham. Devon is an international business strategist, impact speaker, and serial entrepreneur. Devon is the Chief Solutions Officer of CEOMom Empire, which focuses on women's business development. Devon hosts business conferences globally to provide women with the tools they need to sustain and grow their businesses. Her upcoming Unapologetic In Paris, Reflect, Restore, Reclaim 2022 event is expected to be the largest to date. Women from around the world are invited to learn business strategy from Devon and other international leaders. With a spotlight on mums, Devon's journey offers insight on how to overcome the challenges of balancing your business while raising children, which I feel that at the moment, especially. Devon's commitment to her client success has helped them gross over $4 million in revenue and funding. Welcome to the show, Devon.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So please tell me.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I was just saying we're all in isolation here, which is annoying, but it's all right. We'll get through. So tell me about your business journey and how you got to where you are right now.
So I am the product of entrepreneurs. My father is a cobbler, so shoe repairman. He's been doing that over 60 years. My mom is a cosmetologist, and also she has done carpentry, modeling, Mary Kay, so all things creative and beauty. So put together their crafts and their loves, and then here comes me. So I grew up around small business, and ultimately I thought I was going to go into maybe fashion design. I thought possibly law, and I ended up going into marketing once I got to undergrad. And I think it was really when I took my first consumer behavior class, which talked about how important it is to understand. I did consumer behavior and retail marketing. And so when I started to really know the power of understanding the consumer, I said, I like this. So I went more into the creative side of marketing and coupled that with consumer behavior and called myself a creative strategist. So, so that's the good thing about being an entrepreneur is that you can make up your own titles. You know, you get to say, hey, I want to take this piece and that piece, put them together and create something that I love. I've been working with small businesses for this year. This will be my 14th year working with small businesses, and I love it. It definitely, I have come into my own because, as you know, you start a business and you think you're going to do these things, and I was probably doing 12 things, probably about 12, 13 things, and now I've really honed in on what I call my 3 R's and what really help businesses grow. So now with my 4th business, CEOMom Empire, I really focus on helping people to develop better organic relationships and really to create those relationships so that ultimately they can provide more resources to whoever their client base is. And then that last R is to get to revenue, because we all, of course, are in business to make money. So I've journeyed through several industries, from the U.S. beer industry to fashion to consumer goods, worked in field marketing, and now to love to help women to grow is something that I get to do every day.
It's such a joy. You and I are quite similar in our the avenues that we do in our work. So I also call myself a creative strategist some of the time, because it's really difficult to take all those different parts of what you do, which are strategic and creative, and put them together. And there isn't a title for it that I've come across that really gels. So you said this is your 4th business. How has your business evolved, and what were the signs for you that it was time to change?
So the very first business that I launched as an adult, because of course, I had a candy store. That was my kid business, all right. But the very first business that I launched as an adult, it was actually called Creatively Strategic Solutions. And from that business, I really focused on developing the framework around those foundational pieces to business, business filings, creating goals, mindset, networking. I ended up dabbling in some HR and other things. And it was like, after doing so much of that, and especially the HR part, that's not my forte. I was like, no, I'll leave that to that's like a whole nother animal. I have hired and fired people for people. That's not what I wanted to do, right? So you get in business so that you can figure out what it is that you don't want to do as well. And once you figure those things out, you can weed those out. And so I started my business evolving. I think it was probably about 2017 when I decided that it was time for me to switch that up. And I had already been working with moms. And so I created a project off of my nonprofit called CEOMom. It's now evolved to what I call the CEOMom Project. And because I was throwing events that I wish were around when my children are still young, but when my oldest is about to be 17, and I just remember having to miss, I got to go to a lot of events, but I had to miss quite a few events because I didn't have a babysitter, right? Everyone had things to do. And so I really wanted to create an atmosphere where moms could bring their children, have activities for the kids, and then they can learn things both personal growth and for business. And developing that mom following kind of evolved into a little something more. I've always wanted to work in fashion, so I started a fashion line called Libra Chic Fashion Geek, and we're throwing our first fashion show in Paris during Paris Fashion Week on October 1st. So I'm excited about that. Thank you. And I also launched a tech business doing so what's something that you always have to do nonstop as a mom, like this, it never ends? What's something that never ends? You listen, laundry. So I have a mobile laundry startup that just launched for just that, to help us get our time back and also help people make money. And so with CEO Mom Empire, it was like, look, you're creating solutions for people in general. Why not really hone in on how to help moms build and grow in ways that maybe not people aren't focusing on, especially. So my international expansion is what is the newest way that I can help women to grow.
Amazing. Yeah. I love the laundry idea. That's fabulous. So obviously you have children. How do you manage your life as an entrepreneur and without necessarily that support? It's huge.
Listen, that's super funny, right? We just do it, right? We do it.
It's no managing.
And I have the whole run of the game. Right. So from toddlers to teenagers, looking at their different needs and wants, and really just getting them to realize that things that I'm working on, it's for our family, it's for us moving forward. And so making them a part of it helps. Like even now, my 9-year-old is like, Mommy, I got your back. I'll make sure they don't come out while you're interviewing. It's it's super funny, but it's sweet because we need that extra support. And then I finally gotten to the point where they don't say, okay, are you done working yet? It's more like, what are you doing next? Because there definitely was a time, especially pre-pandemic, where family was like, okay, you got another event, you gotta, and even though they went a lot of places with me, you still can't help but sometimes think about that invisible thing called mom guilt. So it was so bad that I ended up making some pins that say hashtag no mom guilt, because nobody talks about dad guilt, grandpa guilt, uncle guilt, so but okay, where does this come from? And so like I said, is like just making them a part of it has really helped. They help with setting up events, they help with whatever their little task, putting things in a basket, so it makes them feel a part of it. So that helps to make life a little bit smoother.
it's funny how you can, I mean, my kids have always been brought up, I've been in business for 12 years and my kids are 11 and 7. So they've never known anything different. And they will do the, okay, well, the eldest one will be like, I'll make sure Felix stays quiet while you're doing this, Mum. And it's always like all school holidays, I'm their sole carer, but they also understand that I have to work. But if I had a conventional job, then I'd have even less time with them. So, and they get that. They get that that's a privilege. So, and yeah, training them. My 7-year-old can now make scrambled eggs, so he's basically self-sufficient.
I know once they can make eggs and macaroni and cheese, that makes our life.
They're set for life. So what does a great day in the office look like for you?
So what? Of course, we talk about with this isolation. So my children actually just went back to school on Monday from our Christmas break because they were home again. And so really, because my husband works from home too, I actually got the chance to leave sometimes to go into my co-working space. And so that did give me some solid time that I didn't have to do anything. So on that good day that I can get like 4 good hours of work, I'm winning. 4 straight hours, like that can literally change like the trajectory of my business when I have that uninterrupted time. So it's mostly looking at potential partnerships. Like I said, right now, I've been doing a lot of calls. My days are they're crazy because of course I'm talking to people that are in Paris and it's a 7-hour difference from where I am. So I'm talking to a lot of them early morning, and then I'm learning French even earlier than that in the morning to try to learn to do that before the kids wake up. I'm returning emails and then realizing if I don't get a certain email out at a certain time, that it's now the midnight there. So I've waited to the end of the day. Okay, it's 10, 11 o'clock. It may not even be answered the next day. So just trying to get that together. But it's all going well because we're all working together to grow. With this new laundry startup, I've had a lot of back end work to do because I've worked with tech companies to start, but this is my first. And so just with understanding the language, making sure that I'm getting things together, because it's the gig economy and it makes sense, but making sure that I have all my paperwork together on the back end, me creating the right structure. I've been doing a lot of paperwork, making sure for CEOMom Empire that I renew my status for government contracts, because this year I said I'm going to go ahead. I've had the status, but I didn't go after. I had one contract that, through subcontracting, but I didn't go after it. So really just trying to identify those relationships that I need to build, developing and making sure that I have my right resources so that I can increase my revenue stream. So that's really the way that I work with my day, to try to prioritize those things. And then try to eat something in between everything. So try to eat something and then get home.
Have a social life and
you know what? Yeah, it's as much as I can. It's usually at home. Sometimes I'll say I'm going somewhere, and unless my friends say, okay, I'm gonna come pick you up or something, and I'm like, I end up canceling because I really would rather stay at home in the bed and watch TV sometimes because I'm just tired. And then all of the kids are picky eaters. So it's like I'm making 3 or 4 different small meals because nobody likes the same food. So, and then I retreat to my room with a glass of wine. So
don't knock on the door. Don't come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, you just do what you have to do to get you through, don't you? Oh my gosh. So what tools do you use in your business? Because obviously you're tech. What are your favorite productivity tools? I always ask this question because everyone has a different tech stack.
So you know what? It's so funny that I love Apple. So between iPhone, I use the tasks. So looking at my daily tasks in Google Tasks, I've used my calendar. For outside projects, I use Asana. I don't really use them for mine. I use Slack. I do use Slack because I have a small team. And when I do have projects, it's easier for me to do that and to keep record of it. So I do definitely use Slack. When it comes to services, I love Square. I built my MVP, so my minimum viable product out of square products because it was more simple for me
Mm.
because they have square appointments. I was able to have that so people could schedule what they need to do. They have square marketing, and then people here are able to get weekly payroll, or they can do cash app. So the way that they were able to integrate everything together, so as I was building things out, that's great. In the next couple months, I hope to actually next week, I do meet with a development team, but I'm not focusing on the app part until I make more revenue. I'm
Yeah.
not going into debt with this. I've already seen it happen. So once I, it'll have to pay for itself before I go there because um it's able to do what it needs to do and to get into revenue. Before me doing that, I've seen too many people, waste money, and then you have to build it out again. I
Mm.
would rather see what works, what doesn't work, in this beta process and very early revenue than spend a ton of money up front just to have a cool app that
It
could
may or
possibly have
may
to be
not,
redone.
yeah, may or may not
Yeah,
meet the market needs. And that's just part of the market research.
yeah,
But a lot of people go,
yeah.
I need an app. I go, do you? Do you need an
No.
app? No. One page website can take payment with some
Yep.
forms, done. So, but we do love
Yeah.
shiny
And that's
things.
it. That's it.
So one of the things that I always talk, we do love shiny things. One of the things I always talk about on my podcast
Right.
is imposter syndrome. So what are your methods to
Yes.
overcome this, and how do you overcome the bad days of being in business? Because we all have them, but we don't see them on
Yeah.
Instagram most of the time.
Right. You know what? I do a lot of affirmations. So I actually have this app called I Am that's on my phone, and I write my own affirmations. And then they also have tons of different ones. Like you can look through personal growth, finance, love, um, what is it? Spiritual growth. They have um and like stress and anxiety. Like they literally have all these boxes. If you need to see affirmations, in specific areas, you can click those. And so they come on my phone probably like 4 or 5 times a day. I also take time to breathe. I did
Mm.
not realize literally how much just breathing, stopping and breathing can help the flow of your day. And so I do that often. I have started doing more stretching and yoga. And when I feel tense or anxious, because like in my early 20s, I did used to have anxiety really bad. And I never forget my doctor at the time. She told me, well, she asked me, she said, now I have a pill that can help. And I said, you can either take the pill or you can make some life changes. Which do you want to do? And I remember her giving me like the half of the little, I think it was Xanax or something. And I remember taking it, and I didn't feel like myself.
Mm.
And so at that point, I knew that the anxiety, even though I was having anxiety, it wasn't as bad. Like for me, it felt like, because I know people who do well on anxiety medicine, and they need it for that reason. But I don't know if the dose was too high. But I said no, I'll have to make the lifestyle changes. And so when we talked through that, I started making the lifestyle changes, and that's when I started to feel better. So it's like really taking care of yourself, listen to professionals, speaking to in safe spaces, speaking in safe spaces, that all matters.
Mm.
So I do those things. I have business besties and my personal friends that I can vent to, that no judgment, and they'll hear me, and vice versa. So when things are feeling, especially with everything going on, I have a book launch coming up. I've recently launched the tech business. I have 2 events coming up now in Paris, and that's just like, that's only work. That's not family. That's not husband. That's not kids. That's not any of that. And so it's a lot. It's a
Mm.
lot. But I do yoga. I love to dance. So when I get a chance to, I dance, and that helps me. Um, and I drink water and mind my business.
Yeah.
So that's what I do when things are feeling rough. I breathe. I give myself a break, and I give myself grace to be a mess if I need to be a mess for a second.
I love that.
Yeah. When it comes to imposter syndrome, I definitely used to deal with that. And I would say sometimes it tries to creep back up, but I'll slap it back instantly because I am where I'm at the point where I know that I deserve everything and more because I've worked very hard. I've helped people make a lot of money. And so I really feel like now I can truly use all the things that I've learned to build generational wealth for my family because even when I mean, I've done everything from grocery store development. I've been to the White House. I've been spoken at colleges. I've done a lot. And so when that monkey on my back tries to creep up and say, hey, you aren't worthy, or you didn't do this, I'm like, no, check my resume. Okay. Check my resume, check my heart. I'm good to people and I'm great in the world. And so I've been able to keep that monkey off my back for probably like about 2.5 years strong now.
Wow.
About 2.5 years strong because it really used to try to creep back, especially right before I had my right after I had my last daughter, who's 3 now.
Oh.
So yeah.
Cute. Handful. So you've mentioned your friends and your biz besties. How do you maintain your sense of community while, I mean, essentially we work alone a lot of the time, especially in pandemic?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Um, they really have helped me a lot. It's so funny that during this time, I've helped people to now do what they love because I think that the world is a better place when we do what we love. The world is, people are kinder when they're doing what they love versus being stressed out. If I'm going to be stressed out, I'd rather be stressed out doing something that I love, versus doing something that I don't feel is truly benefiting myself and my family. So yeah, being that sense has been great.
So what's your why? What keeps you motivated in your business?
Wow. You know what? Oh, it's so big.
It is so big.
I would definitely say I know, like I would definitely say um my family, but even more than that, I think that I really want to show them that no matter what challenges may come your way, that it's always important to stay true to you and your journey. We are here no matter what people believe, spiritually. We one thing is for sure, that we have this one life on earth. Whether you believe that we will come back, whether you whatever you believe, we only have this one time in this body on during this time, right? And so I just think that we owe it to ourselves. And for me, I'm really big on from the sacrifices that my parents have made, that my grandparents have made, and those that I'll never even meet. I just feel like I'm sitting on such tall shoulders that I owe it to them to do things that they couldn't do, but to do it in my own way. And that's a big why for me, because I want to continue to show my children that as well, that they can do that. There's no impossible. Literally, if you can dream it, you can do it. And I always I started this affirmation with some high school students that I was teaching that says, I am amazing. There's no one like me. I am unstoppable. Not even the sky is the limit for me. And a lot of them are getting ready to graduate from college. And they say that when they repeat it to me, it really blows my mind, because I know that they understood the fact that they have no limits and not even the sky is the limit. And so that's what I want others to see. If no, they don't even have to know my name. They don't have to remember anything else. But if they remember that they didn't have any limits and that they could do things that look different to other people or that look harder to other people, then I've done my job. So that's a big why of mine.
That's huge.
To have that impact long after I'm.
Yeah, leave a legacy. I love it. So what are your top tips for all the smart women in business across the world?
You know what? The biggest one I would say really is to give yourself grace. Giving myself grace. I have that in my bathroom to say, give yourself grace. Like, giving myself grace has been the best thing for me. I used to have a problem with perfectionism. Nobody ever told me that. It was like nobody ever told me to be perfect. I actually put that on myself. So I don't even like to hear the word perfect. It's like, I don't even want it to be perfect. I want it to be done the way it needs to be. And so I really wish that as women as moms operate, that they would give themselves grace when things don't go quite as they think they should go. I truly believe that things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and then you can make adjustments. There's really no reason to keep harping on it. You just change it, and just do better. The second thing I would say is to put you on your schedule, as we are scheduling doctor's appointments. So doctor's appointments for multiple kids, attending to parents, the house, business meetings, calls. I now schedule times for myself, you know, for whatever it is, even if it's to go see an art exhibit. I love art. So I put me on my schedule if that's what I want to do. Because how can I have a schedule full of things for everybody else and nothing scheduled and no time for myself? It's like those things will be here long after I'm gone. I want to say that I got to enjoy myself while I was helping to change the world.
Yeah.
So give yourself grace and put you on your schedule, or the top two things, because you'll be better at your job, you'll be better in your business, you'll be better for your family if you give yourself grace and if you give yourself time.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's funny, isn't it? Even if it's just sitting and reading a book for 30 minutes, it can change a whole day. Just having time for you. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you, Devon. How can listeners find out more about you and your work?
My website is at devonmoodygraham.com. I am on Twitter, Devon Moody-Graham, no A at the end. So it's DEVONMOODYGRAHM on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, full name. So nobody can ever take my name. I'm my full name everywhere, right? You can also you can follow my journey on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, of course. I'm on all those platforms, and you'll see all the great things that are going on. There's still a few spots left on the Unapologetic in Paris trip for this June. I definitely have some. It's so funny. This is by popular demand for some clients. It's like, you need to do a 3-hour boot camp, because I really help people cut the BS, get to the bottom line of their business model, and execute. I'm a straight to the point type person. So it's like, yes, you can get to the pretty marketing, but do you understand your business model? So those are the things I'm looking for. So if people need help with that, definitely reach out to me, because those are my specialties. I've helped a lot of people make a lot of money, and they will be no different.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. If you'd like access to the show notes, please visit my website, janemackaycommunications.com.au/blog. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to hear more, please don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep on being a smart woman in business.